Hey guys, so I just want to help you guys in regards to how to power level your friends in regards to Animos. So for this part, what you're going to do is you're going to use a level 20 elemental summoner or higher, and you will power level them by basically doing no DPS on your own, but sending in your pet instead to do DPS. All your friend has to do is tag and then do what they would normally do against a normal enemy in DPS. If they do not DPS at all, they will not get as much EXP. It will be reduced. But sending in your pet does not count as DPS from you. As a result, they get full EXP bonus, such as the Blue Mage exploit for EXP. Enkindle and Rouse does not count as DPSs from you either, since it basically empowers your pet to do damage. So, as a result, they get full credit for using those, and it expedites your ability to power level them. Another thing to keep in mind is since you are doing the DPS, you can easily chain pull to help get them more EXP bonuses. I would recommend they use a tank or healer class, but a DPS class is acceptable. They just might want to keep some Eureka potions on them so that way they don't have to worry about health. This is a great way to really power level your friends through Animos. They can use the train or grind level, but that will take more time. Another thing to really keep in mind is to focus on the challenge log for the week. That will get them a lot more EXP, especially at lower levels such as 2, 3, 4, 5, and rather than later levels, which will only give them one full level. This is my guide for Animos. I hope you guys found this useful. If there's anything you have to contribute to this, please leave it in the comments below. The reason this is more beneficial than, say, just healing someone that's going through and power leveling them that way and keeping them alive is you're doing additional damage to the enemy, whereas they would have to do damage on their own if you are just healing them. So, highly recommend this and hope this helps you guys out. Hey guys, Tenchiyami here. I'm going to teach you how to power level yourself through Pegos. It will require a little bit of into levels already, so since the starting level for here is, I believe, 18 or 19, but typically people don't come in here until 20 to 22, you should be fine. What I will say is, in excess of level 25 plus, this becomes a lot easier, but you can do this at a lower level. So at lower levels, between 20 to 25, this will be a little bit more difficult. I highly recommend doing this with your friend. It will make it a lot simpler. First thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a level sync macro. This basically fulfills the function of the level sync button that appears when you normally are in the vicinity of an NM Fate. All you have to do this level sync macro is make a macro, and you're just going to type in /level sync. The reason you're doing this one is because it's a toggle effect rather than on or off. So it changes two buttons into one. It also means you don't have to fumble to try and click the button in a reasonable amount of time. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go to the Aetheryte. We're going to go to Vlandatta's Retreat. Vlandatta's, whatever. And you're just going to head on over. Obviously, you guys won't be able to mount this early on, but you'll take and head on over this way. What we're heading towards is the South Bunny Fate. With the South Bunny Fate, what you can do is you can utilize it to maximize your weekly challenge log for Eureka, which after level 20 is anywhere between 1 or 2 levels, give or take. What you're going to do is, as you can see now that I have the level sync button available, once I'm inside the Fate, you can fulfill all of the weekly challenge logs utilizing this area. The only one that's a little bit difficult is the Fire and Earth one. And the reason for this one is the mobs for Fire and Earth are a little bit north. It requires either heat waves for the fire elementals, or it requires you taking on Valmoles. So you can either take on Ember Spirits and Valmoles, but what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to tag them. Keep in mind these enemies are 23 or 24. And then you're going to run back towards the Fate NM and then level sync prior to killing them. So, with that being said, I'm just going to give you guys a brief rundown on how to do this effectively. The most common thing that you'll see is people farming wolves. Pagos wolves are known to mutate under any weather condition except for clear skies during daytime. So this means that you can pretty much stand in one area and then pull them. Keep in mind, Pagos Wolves start at level 24, so I would not recommend these early on. But this is a great way to fill your challenge log, and as a result of using level sync, your friends that are higher level than you can also assist you with this. So what I'm going to do is show you exactly what's done. So I'm going to go ahead and pull a Pagos Wolf. I will say some of the more effective classes for this are Red Mage, specifically due to the amount of burst damage that they have. So I'm going to go ahead and do a cast, long cast, instant, 9, boom, 5. I can almost melt a wolf and nothing, and then use level sync as it's dying, and I will get full credit for that kill. So since I haven't killed anything in the Ice Elemental, you can see that I now have 1 kill in my Ice Elemental for the weekly challenge. This makes this super easy to farm. During nighttime, you'll see the demons spawn Ashkin, so that way you can fulfill that. Ice and lightning elementals will spawn within this ice lake vicinity. Super easy, super simple. Another thing to really keep in mind is that if you're farming for light for your relic weapon, Pagos Wolves are a great way to do this. It's actually better to kill them just a little bit slower because of the fact that they have a chance to mutate. And when they mutate, they give you guaranteed light. And with you using level sync, it puts you at, let's see, level 23, which puts you a level below them, almost guaranteeing that it's bright light. So the more annoying fact is when the elemental conflict fails or someone is holding on to a bunny from South Bunnies, you have to wait for that NM fate to respawn, which can be a little bit tedious and annoying, but it is not the end of the world. You can do this as any DPS class. I would recommend not doing this as a tank or healer class. If you have another class available, this will become so much easier. If you are trying to do this as a healer, I would recommend getting a buddy to help you and just staying level synced. So this person thinks that I am trying to level up, so I'm going to tell them no. But I hope this was useful to you guys. Another method, obviously, since they lowered the Aetherite levels for everything, is to, you know, go and join the NM train for huge amounts of EXP. I would always keep your map open to the bottom right corner or bottom left, wherever you feel comfortable. That way you can see when NM spawns, such as, you know, Ash the Magic Dragon, and so on and so forth. And that way you can optimize your EXP gain. Now the last thing I want to point out in regards to Pagos is that if you are trying to farm NMs at a low level, I highly recommend staying to the southern NMs. What I mean by this is basically the Yugi NM, the Worm NM, and Ash the Magic Dragon. I think also the Hecate Eye and the Undead Giant. Basically, those are the ones you want to stick to. The reason why you want to stick to these is to get to any of the other NMs to the north requires a mount or a lot of time, and typically most of the people in these instances are no longer very patient. And the reason why that is that you need a lot of time is because of the dragons that block each passageway. Dragons aggro to sound and nothing else, so if you are loud, basically this is your sound barrier right here, is when it starts changing from snow to ground, and you basically need to walk past these. The other thing to keep in mind is that these withered Sancchini, I apologize if I am butchering that, but wild Sancchini also aggro to sound, so you will need to continue to walk past those as well. So if you're trying to get to the Snowman NM, which is just north of where I am currently, then you will need to walk a considerable amount of the distance itself, which is very hasslesome. It's definitely a big problem. And then you still have to deal with these level 31s and such. Another dragon that's to the left right there, as well as another dragon that's just up here. So it becomes very troublesome, especially if you're traveling at night and you end up with any kind of blood aggro from any of the ghost NMs. So, or ghost creatures, sorry, not NMs. And that's just getting to the north west area. In order to get to the northeast area, it entails a much greater distance. Not only just getting to the northeast to get to the NMs such as the Holy Cow or any of those, but for things such as the top level Pagos NM, for the Pyros, or correction, the Pagos crystals, as well as things such as Cassie and so on, will entail additional amounts of time to get to, either because of dragons dropping off of cliffs and so on. So definitely want you guys to be aware there is a large amount of travel involved if you're trying to get to northern Pyros or Pagos NMs. I apologize for constantly saying Pyros instead of Pagos. But with the lowering of the Aetheryte level requirements, it's definitely considerably easier. So I hope this was useful, and let's move on to Pyros. For Pyros, as far as power leveling is concerned, to be honest, there is no quicker way than just hanging out with the NM train. In regards to Pyros, the amount of EXP you gain per NM is astounding. Not only from that, but from the bunny fates, even if you don't go farm your bunny itself. What I will say, though, is if you aren't going to turn in your bunny from the NM fate, if you get one, then please dispel it so that way others can get credit for it. That way also the NM fate respawns more quickly. As far as any other kind of leveling, if you're still needing to do your weeklies, I highly recommend doing your Pagos level sync farming, as it will be the quickest in regards to overall farming itself. And then as far as light farming is concerned in Pyros, there are groups specifically detailed in regards to how to farm that. The most popular method is reflect farming, where everyone in a group becomes naked except for the healer and tank. So that means that there are 6 people that are naked. They all have as many reflect logograms as they are able. And then basically whenever they go farm moths in the upper northeast area, when they use a conal AoE, it'll do massive damage. As long as everyone is in that conal AoE with reflect active, then it will do massive damage back to the moth and pretty much instantly kill them. This is super fast. I highly recommend actually de-leveling, if at all possible, to level 49 for this, because it will do more damage. You will also get more light credit. Light is obviously a big factor, so are NMs dropping Pyros crystals, so that way you can continue into Hydados to get your Relic weapon and armor. I hope that this was useful to you guys, and I will see you in Hydados. One other thing I want to point out to you guys, if you are farming the NM train with Pyros, is that until you're a certain level, it's very useful to keep in mind that while not everything in here aggroes to your level, most of the things along the way to certain northern NMs will aggro to sound or to blood. So if you're in this tunnel here just north of the South Bunnies, at night there will be Trabadors. They will aggro to your blood. So if you take a certain amount of damage, they will aggro to you and one-shot you basically. For anything north of that, it's going to be Clippers, Scorpions, Dragons, Hornets, and such. All these things aggro to sound. It does not matter what level you are as far as low level is concerned. Obviously, higher level, they are not going to aggro, regardless of if I'm standing right on top of them and dancing. But if you're a lower level and you're just trying to get to the next NM, it's very useful to just walk. For you though, for those of you that aren't aware, to make sure that you know how to walk on either PS4 or PC. The other thing I will also point out is that if you are riding with someone that has a dual person mount, such as the Drought Chocobo or the Coming 4-person car. You will not be detected due to your sound. As you can see, the Pyrus Hawk, which is the Hornets, will aggro to me even though I am level 50, because they are level 50. But if you are riding with someone on a multi-person mount, they will not aggro you based on sound. They will aggro you based on level, if anything. So you can full-on run through the Clippers and the Scorpions and the Dragons on a second-person mount as a passenger and not aggro everything. Hey guys, so for Hydatos, the best method for leveling is honestly the same in accordance with Pyros, as I previously told you. Either to self-power level in Pagos, utilizing the level sync mechanic that I taught you, or to stick with the NM train in Hydatos. I honestly prefer the latter, if for no other reason than you need to farm Hydatos crystals in order to get your Relic weapon and your Relic armor. To get the +1 armor, you will need to spend quite a bit of Hydatos crystals. Another major thing is trying to get things such as the Vermilion Cloak of casting or healing, as well as the DPS, melee, ranged, and tank version of such. So I definitely recommend in Hydatos either sticking with the NM train. That being said, since you are only going from level 50 to level 60, there are fewer NMs. The most prominent NM will be the Ovni NM that spawns in the mid-southwest area. Sorry, southeast. And the other thing in regards to Ovni is if everyone in the instance, roughly 56 players, up to 144 gain a gold medal for killing Ovni, you will all be able to attune to Baldesian Arsenal, which allows you to enter there to farm Eurekan fragments in order to get the +2 armor. This does require you having completed the Eureka questline, as well as unlocking Baldesian Arsenal, which you would be aware of after level 60 anyways. The Expedition Artisan will be who you turn in your +1 gear to turn it into +2 gear. It requires anywhere between 21 to 35 fragments, depending on what the type of armor you're turning in. For +1 gear, it will be augment Eurekan armor, which means you have to have gotten the Pyros Eurekan armor, which is 40 Pyros crystals per item. For Eurekan +1 gear, it will be 30 or 50 depending on the item you are after. Typical allocations as normal with tombstones and such. Obviously, the smaller pieces cost less than the big pieces, such as pants and chest piece, which cost more. You will also need to unlock all 50 logograms to unlock the Pyros gear, and you will need to unlock all 56 logograms in Hydatos in order to unlock the +1 Hydatos gear. For guides to that, I can do one, just feel free to let me know, but basically you can buy logograms off the auction house to unlock the required logograms that you need. You can also use charts such as these, which can be found on Reddit, in order to obtain all of them. The last 6 are contained in a separate Reddit thread. For any more information, please leave comments down below, and I hope this was useful to you. I will see you guys next time for my Baldesian Arsenal guide.